Veritas Mamas. Today I'm going to go over just some ideas that I use when working with my group as a group leader and just how I manage the kids. I try to keep it fun and silly as much as I can, and I keep my expectations or instructions as clear as I can. Some ways I do that is I start really excited, and you kind of saw me do that in the beginning of the main session last week when it was time to get in straight lines. I just kind of got loud and fun and silly and was just like, all right, I want to see who can sit crisscross slots in 5, 4, 3. And I just count down, and for some reason the countdown seems to always bring order and excitement at the same time. So that's one way to get them seated in the position that you want and listening for the next instruction or the next task. So excitement. I also, when I have just my group and not the entire class, I will start by saying, okay, next we're going to go to the table, but don't move yet. I am looking for friends who are sitting super quiet and in crisscross applesauce and hands in their lap. And when I tap your head, I want you to stand up and quietly as a mouse walk over to the table. And it might be stand there or sit in a chair. Whatever it is, you want to be very clear about the instructions. Clear and simple. So sometimes I will go into a whisper. Sometimes I'll say it loud. Sometimes I'll clap to see if they can repeat the clap and they're listening. There's many different creative ways you can do it. Let's see. So in the first class that I did, I allowed the kids to sit where they wanted to in the rectangle in the history room. That way I could actually take note of who sat by who. BFFs tend to sit next to each other. Sometimes that is a distraction because they tend to want to chit chat. Sometimes it's okay. And then we moved to the tables, and again, I let them stand where they wanted to kind of see how it formed. After that class, once we were in the other rooms, I strategically actually placed students where I wanted them, or I'd call them by name and say, hey, Barrett, I'm going to have you sit right here at this seat. And Riley, I want you to come over here and sit next to Barrett. And so. It challenged me to work on their names, but it also helped me to strategically place them. So maybe there was less chit-chat or less temptation to chat. And also as a group leader, I floated around the kids the whole time so I could help with distractions. If somebody was talking when they shouldn't be, I could simply put my hand on their shoulder. That right now seems to work, just probably because I'm a stranger at this point. But if they did it again, maybe in the same class or another class, I could put my hand on their shoulder and lean in and whisper really quietly in their ear, like, hey, bud, or hey, sweetie, I need you to listen with your ears and keep your mouth closed right now, or let's not talk right now. Whatever it is tends to just help, and it doesn't draw attention to the other students. Following last week, I'll be even in more communication with the tutors, but I'm there to help and assist. So even while the tutor is teaching, if there's a pause or a slight moment and I notice something good that a student is doing, for example, there was a moment I could jump in and say, wow, Aria, thank you so much for sitting crisscross applesauce and for keeping your hands to yourself. And if there's other students that aren't doing that, it tends to actually put them into that position because they saw that Aria just got positive reinforcement and they want that too. And so that's one way, instead of having to correct students constantly, draw attention to the positive that a student is doing. And it tends to put everybody else in line or in the pattern that you would like. Let's see. So sometimes when moving students to the carpet, to the chairs, or vice versa, chairs to carpet, when I'm moving students into the line to leave the classroom, there's different ways that I go about that. So I tell them clearly what I want them to do. Sometimes I'll whisper, and then I may say, when I tap your head, stand up and da-da-da-da, or when I spell your name, so it gets them to listen for their name. Maybe I'll say what color shirt they have on, so they have to pay attention to those details. You can really be creative in how you do it. I may just say their name. I may whisper their name. I don't know. It just keeps the kids tuning into what I'm saying. Let's see. Also, there's going to be some great teaching moments while in these transitions, whether it's inside the classroom or between classrooms. In the memory work classroom, the tutor was playing this game, and first, before saying what they were doing, she was going to have them line up with their backs against the wall, and she wasn't sure what side she was going to start on. But one of the sides would be the line leader. Well, Riley had gotten up and gone to the right, and she stood quietly and patiently with her hands to her side. And as the boys were being called, they all kind of figured out, like, one of them wants to be first, and so there became some pushing and shoving in hopes that their side would be chosen. It was a great moment where I just paused and said, "Hey guys, hold on a second." And I said, "Hey, God calls us, or Jesus says that if we want to be first, we shall be last. And He asks us to serve one another and to put others' needs before ours." And Riley over there, so again, I didn't have to point out the pushing and shoving and all that kind of stuff. All I had to say was, Riley over there stood patiently waiting for instruction with her hands by her side and wasn't pushing or shoving her neighbors. So her side gets a start today. So and very quickly, as soon as I said that, all the boys went straight to the backs to the walls, hands to their side, and corrected their behavior without me having to tell them no or don't do that. So take the opportunities when there is transition, teaching good habits, teaching virtues, bringing a verse into it. Again, keep it simple though. And another opportunity was when we went from a table to the line, and I said, "All right, I'm looking to see who's going to go into line, and I need you to sit quietly in your chair, and I will tap you on the head, but I need you to do something special for me." And I get really quiet and I say, "I need you to stand. When you stand up, I need you to push your chair in and then walk slowly to the line." And one of our little friends forgot, and it was such a great moment. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you forgot to push your chair in. Go ahead and sit back down, and I'll call your name again." So it wasn't just a reminder like, "Oh no, you need to push your chair in." I made it fun, and the whole class was like, "Oh my gosh, we really do need to push our chair in." And it was cute, and it makes it memorable, and hopefully as the weeks progress that they will also remember those habits that we're helping to create in the classroom. And I think that's about it. Feel free to ask me questions if you need ideas. Don't be afraid to be silly with them. They love it, and it actually, encourages them to listen even more. Yeah. I will talk to you later. Bye.